Right, Harley 1200 UL. When we first got the bike in, we hadn't run it, so the customer asked us to take the cylinder heads off and check the barrels out, which were badly scored. Oil rings stuck in, so which would kind of indicate towards a lack of oil pressure, possibly. But when I had the barrels rebored, new pistons, the new pistons fitted, started it up, and it sounded absolutely horrendous. Very, very, very tappety, very, very noisy. So decision was pull the engine, strip it and have a look what's going on, which is a good thing we did, because it's not very well at all. Like I say, very tappety. So first thing you check out, pull your lifters out, which are these. Yeah, so you've got a camshaft, rotates, that roller goes on the camshaft. See that movement in it?
Not good.
No, that's all the bearings have gone in there. They're there. I've got some over here actually. So that's a new one. So you've got a central boss, all your little needle rollers around it, and then your outer, yeah? Pin goes in there. Now that, you can't move up and down at all. You should have no play in that at all. But as I say, all of these, they're all gone. You've got that much play in it. Look. But added to that problem, where they've been banging up and down on the camshaft, they fit in there. So as that goes up and down, yeah, on the cam, that bolt head there, which I can reface there, I'll get new ones though, that hits the valve, pushes the valve up and down. But because it's clanging, that's worn itself out. So you can actually get hold of those inside, and that's got that much movement as well. So what it's doing, there's more yet. As it's going up on the ramp of the camshaft, if that's worn out, it's doing that. Yeah? The force of that doing that is then hitting the bottom of the valve, and instead of pushing the valve straight up and down, it's moving the base of the valve like that. So that's worn the valve guides out in the barrels. So it needs new valve guides. It needs new tappet blocks, these. You can buy them 5 thou oversize. See the wear there, look. And there. So basically these are worn out, and these will have wear in them, but you can buy those 5/1000 of an inch oversize, and then you can ream these out. So that alleviates that problem. The next problem is camshaft in its bush.
Oh blimey, that's crazy.
So all of the camshaft bushes are completely worn out. So that's that one, that'll be that one. Again, that isn't too bad in there, but you've still got play. So everything accumulates. When you're trying to adjust your tappets, your valve gaps up, yeah? You can't do them too tight, because as it heats up, you'll get what is called valve overlap. So the valve can't shut properly because everything expands when it's hot. So you have to have your 4 and your 6 thou gaps. But you add that, so that being sloppy in there, so that going up and down in there, doesn't matter what you adjust that to, it's never ever going to run right or quietly. Because it's all just clanging around everywhere, you know. So that's the main problem with that lot. Cam journals all seem okay, but it's all just worn out. So New set of cam bearings all the way through. The idler you get in the set as well, because that's worn out. So that's that. I mean, that's the tool, inserting tool, so you can tell straight away that's standard size. So even if those were worn, yeah, if your bearing face on the camshaft was worn out, that's a fitting tool.
Yeah.
So you know that that's right. If you're trying any of those, they're all had it. Right, that one, see that lip on it? I don't know what's going on with that. It should run on the phosphor bronze bush with your pin tapped to stop them rotating. That one has chewed its way into that bearing, which I've no idea why it's done it at the moment till I start building it. That's actually rubbing on the base. So all it can be is either that bearing that holds the oil pump on the other side is pushing it down too hard, but this is why you have to build them individually. Each cam put in individually. We'll put your new bearings in, then fit that case in, then remount across the two. Yeah, then you have to put each one in individually, because I can see some scoring marks on that cam bearing there, on that cam wheel. So that's been hitting something. I would say probably just on that little tiny lip there. So that all needs setting up. As I say, put all your new bearings in, each camshaft in individually, make sure it's rotating okay, make sure you haven't got too much play up and down in there. These two cams only have one space of shim on them, one each side, because obviously you can't get one on that side. The other two camshafts have one either side. So then once you've got each one working individually,
yeah, then
put them all in and make sure it all turns freely, it doesn't bind anywhere. Yeah? Okay, that's that while it's apart like that. Then, next problem, crankshaft had big end play in it, which you can adjust by bearings, putting bigger roller bearings in there. If you look at that, that's completely knackered. You take that one out, that's your crank pin. See all the scoring and chafing in it. So that's you can't put it back together with that. It just won't. It will just chew itself to death. These are your side thrust washers that fit in the side of the flywheels. Nominal 50 thou, 55 thou I think. Now they go in there, sit in there and get pinned in so they can't move, yeah? Now that one's got wear on it. Nothing major, you know, I wouldn't put it back in, but you know, on stripping an engine and assessing it, there's nothing major wrong with that. That one has had it. See where it's brindled, got hot?
Yeah.
But that was turning in here. Now if you look at that face there, that hasn't been turning, that's just been seated in and pinned down. Yeah? That one, it's just rubbed itself to death. It's been chewing the actual flywheel out. See?
Yeah, I see that.
And that, you feel the ridge in that. So that means the crank is throwing one side, or the motion of the engine where that pin's so loose, it's just bending everything round where it wants to go. This side outer crank casing snapped in half, the bearing had. So that was in half.
God.
So you can get oversized bearings for these, but this is so worn out, it's not even worth trying to do that, I don't think.
Gosh.
One of the, that's just about to snap in half. Look, it's got a great big dent in it. So that's literally what that is cracked in half. It will just break in the end. You can change these. They're actual. You see that there, that line there. So you can change these races. but you can see that side rubbed itself clean out.
Yeah.
That side hasn't been touched or anything, so it's, as it's going up and down, it's doing that. That's what it's doing. So you see you got shiny there,
Yeah.
flip it over the other way, shiny there. So it is literally doing that in the hole as it's going up and down. I've priced it all up. Again, you'd have to buy 20 or 30 of each size bearing going up in sizes, and the chances of us doing another UL engine are not massive, you know. So you might as well change the small ends for the sake of €10 each.
Yeah.
That's just a phosphor bronze bush. I've priced it all up. It's cheaper to buy the whole unit. I think that's €100 on its own. By the time you've done them, you know, all the bearings and everything, it's just cheaper to buy it as a lump, and you know it's standard done right. These thrust washers, I'm a bit worried about that being worn, but they do an oversized washer set for them. So you can get a 55 and a 60 thou, I think. I mean, you should have side play. I think it's 6 thou, I can't remember now without looking it up. So that, when it gets assembled, needs looking at. But they're €8 each, so you buy a 55 and a 60, you know. It needs a new pin in there, that's worn. And there's a certain couple of other little, until I build it, I don't know, but it'll be an interesting one to build. Crank side thrust felt alright, all the main bearings, the bottom main bearings feel okay. It's got wear in here, which is unusual. That is where that goes. It's like an oil seal. You can see that's got some wear on it, yeah? So that sits on there. Ooh, stomach. And that's spring loaded when you put these two on. See, that has got a little bit of wear in it. It's not a lot. That's your oil pump drive. See where it's just shiny? Wouldn't expect to see that shiny. See it on that side as well? That's actually got a lip in it there. So that just sits on the spring, but I don't understand why. It's either chattering up and down like that, but that also, see that? The wear on that. So it shouldn't be that tight. That sits on that bearing there. But you can feel that actually locates in there, which it shouldn't do. So I would imagine it's something is too tight in there. Until I build it, I won't know. But they're the problems you have to sort of overcome when you're doing it. So I wouldn't want to leave that like that. As I say, you don't really know till you start building it what the hell's going on. Oil pump's a little bit warm, but nothing major. It's been underwater or had water stayed in this engine. See the oil pump there, look. See that rust mark? So that's a crankcase breather as such, goes in there. As your oil pump rotates, you time that up so that that hole there lines with that little tooth bit there, yeah? So then as the engine rotates, piston coming down, forcing all the oil, yeah, and everything, so you get lower crankcase compression. That, when it's all timed up properly, lines up with that hole there, look, yeah? And then that lets all your crankcase compression come out through that, which is in the bottom of the case in there. So it lets the engine breathe, the bottom end of the engine breathe, but that must have been full of water to that point there to get that rust mark, so it lines up perfectly with that. Again, the other knock on of all the valves being worn out, the tappet blocks being worn out and everything is, we'll have to just double check the valve stem sizes and probably put valve guides in it. If you've gone that far, you might as well do it. That's an complete engine rebuild basically. But not what we wanted to hear indeed, but he wants it right, which is understandable. So
it will be.
We'll get it right.